Dr. Anita Amidon here. I always think summer, plus you look summery today. We talk about
summer.
You're trying. You're
Good.
trying.
Good.
Burn off that fog.
We need that. That's for sure. That's for sure. Dr. Anita Amidon in studio with us from Laser Spa at 610. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not
morning.
bad.
Good.
The sun
So
is.
I'd like
Morning,
to,
everyone.
if I may, a couple of things I wanted to discuss with you, but one of them is you have a free skin consultation for anyone that comes in to your facility,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So if I called and said I'd like to come in and have a skin analysis, you would do that and advise me what could or couldn't be done to help your skin.
Right, and we do our best to let everyone know that all of our consults are complimentary. We will do a skin evaluation. I like to hear from the patients first what is bringing them in, because once we say something, they're not going to be able to unsee it. So hear what their concerns are and go through.
Wait, what is that? Once?
Well, if I say, "Oh my gosh, Rocco, your skin is so dry," you're not going to be able to say you're going to, be obsessed with your dry skin.
Oh, okay.
So I don't like to bring it to, attention to, and your skin isn't dry.
Oh no, I'm not going to worry about this now.
I didn't know what to
Been
pick
worrying
out.
about it all morning.
See, the minute you say something, that's all the patient will think about. So
Right.
you don't really want it to be this gimmicky thing where you're pointing something out and P.S. we can fix it. I let the patient, just say what their concerns are, and then we can address it.
You need
It's just a
tires,
lot.
brakes, and oil change. And
That's every maintenance visit
right.
for my car.
Do you do the for skin cancer? Would you be able to look and say that's something you need to have checked, or that's something?
I think
that looks,
you have to be careful with that because one, if we see anything of concern, we do refer out to a dermatologist, and then they can use their tools to determine. But even if you lined up 10 of the best dermatologists, if you ask them to just look at a lesion, half of them would be wrong, and that's important to know because more often than not, you should sample, get a biopsy. So
we talked about before too how important it is to really determine the skin type.
a skin type in terms of ethnicity, in terms of treating with lasers, skin typing is important. And if you see something that's at all concerning, you follow the ABCs of dermatology. Is it asymmetric? What are the borders looking like? Are they irregular? Are there many different colors? The C is for color. Are there variations in color in the lesion? If there are any of those criteria being met, you're not going to want to laser it or get rid of it. You're going to want to sample it and know what it is before you do anything to it, and it might need to be removed as opposed to lasered.
You see different skin types. You have some people who just have a nice golden skin. They don't have any freckles. They don't have any moles or anything like that. Then you have people that are covered with freckles or covered with sunspots or have moles here and there. If your skin is one of those that doesn't really have any blemishes, I wouldn't call them blemishes, any spots because of moles, things like that, freckles, compared to someone who does, is there any, of those two at least, is anyone at greater risk of developing skin cancer compared to the other?
I think you go, the one thing I'll address right from the get-go is that there's actually there is no one besides babies who just come out that have no freckling or moles or evidence of sun exposure, because unless you live in a bubble with no sun. So the people with the darker skin actually have more melanin in their skin, and they have a natural SPF of 3 or 8, depending on the color of their skin. So they might be less prone to developing a cancer, but it doesn't eliminate their need for wearing sunscreen. So we people fall into traps like, oh, I never burn, so I don't wear sunscreen. Well, yeah, you could still get cancer.
So just because you don't burn doesn't mean you're avoiding the risk of cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't burn. I burned maybe twice in my life, and both times where the sun really just was so strong. And despite wearing sunscreen, I burned. But I wear sunscreen, and people question, well, why do I wear sunscreen? My skin is darker, but I still have Bob Marley died of melanoma, stage 4.
Oh.
But by the time he was diagnosed, because no one suspected melanoma in, his ethnicity,
right?
He went undiagnosed and had this lesion on his toe, and it was too late by the time.
Remember his father was English.
Well, yeah.
So at some point he got too much sun exposure on his toe.
Not on his toe. He just got he never protected himself because he's like, I don't burn,
Right.
He's
out there playing around Jamaica all day long.
till I was 20, I didn't wear sunscreen. And then I got to med school, met my first skin cancer patient who was dying at the age of 30 something, and I said, "Oh my God, I was supposed to be wearing it too."
Right.
That
and
was
then
scary.
got religious about it.
The other thing I want to talk to you about a little bit is people's perception of their physical appearance and how it affects their self-esteem. That people who have a negative impression of their physical appearance tend to have lower self-esteem. And if people like the way they look, they tend to have higher self-esteem. I'm making these statements. You can react to them. And if someone comes in to you and says, I'm really upset because I have these wrinkles or I have this problem with my skin, it's dry, whatever it is, and you're able to provide some mitigation to that issue that they have in your facility, say, well, we can take care of this or that. Not only might it make the person look better, in their eyes, if they feel like they look better, it might affect their whole self-esteem and their self-confidence and affect everything that they do. Would you react to that if there's any validity to that?
I mean, that's actually the most fulfilling part of my job and why we love what we do at Laser Spa is we get a ton of people that come in for one reason or the other. The subset that I'm thinking of right now that's the most dramatic is our acne clients. We have a large subset of acne clients who come in, and when they're coming in, you can see they can't even look me in the eye. They're looking down on the ground. They're not making eye contact with anybody in the room because their self-esteem is low because of what they're projecting from their face. And once we start treatments, whether it be topical, whether it be nutrition-based changes or lasers, the minute they clear, all of a sudden they're walking in and they're new people. I've seen some younger women come in and I don't even recognize them because now they're looking people in the eye. They're
Confidence is much.
The confidence is
much
100,000% better, and I know that's not.
I just wanted, speaking of acne, I thought about this over the weekend. I actually brought it up to my family because it was just an observation I've had a number of times is that when we went to school, it seemed like everyone had acne. Everyone had bad skin. I had bad skin. We were all greasy. We were all hideous.
No one has an
pizza
awkward
faces.
face anymore.
Right.
Right.
Is it? And I just noticed I don't see
Thank you,
anybody
Instagram.
with any bad skin anymore. I mean,
Well-
with the occasional person, but not like where you really said, well, people out there have skin problems. As far as I sit here right now, I've said very few people have skin problems. I know that's not true, but that's my observation
perception,
from
right,
public.
right.
So is there something, whether it's difference, maybe hormones and like certain foods or things like that that's changed
Or
now?
treatment?
I think our access to treatment has changed. And I think that there's more treatments available. Aside from just going to your doctor and getting a pill and taking it, there's so many more things that you can do, including prevention, like changing, get the dairy out of your diet. I'm always talking about dairy.
Does dairy have some
Dairy
sort of
has
link
a
to acne?
direct causal link to acne, and no one really talks about it. Definitely not the milk people.
Right. That was my guess, is that there's less people drinking milk because I think, well, we all were
There's so
encouraged to
many more
drink
milk
milk, and so we all had
alternatives, right.
zits and acne and stuff like that.
Well, we didn't know better. Like there's more
Is it
access to
Anita,
information,
is it
but
the
also more
milk-
access to care.
Is it the milk fat or is it
It's
it
milk
something else
protein.
in the milk?
It's
the
milk
protein.
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 Casein. So casein, and there's, milk is primarily two proteins and sugar. So lactose is the milk sugar. Milk proteins are casein and whey. So if you think of Little Miss Muffet, curds and whey are casein and whey. Casein, 68% of the world's population is allergic to casein. And it might manifest not in always anaphylaxis, but skin issues, stomach issues, irritable bowel, asthma, reflux, GERD. For myself, for instance, I took out casein once I found out I was allergic to it, and my asthma, reflux, GERD went away. I had 7 prescription medications. I don't take anything anymore. And that was 15 years worth of all those medications plus steroids that I couldn't dream of living without, and I don't take a single thing anymore because I took out the top 2 things that I was allergic to. So we are what we eat.
Right.
And you have to think about environmental toxins are bad, but the biggest environment that we are exposed to is the one that we're eating. So
Well,
it's 1,000 times stronger when we put it in our body.
Being aware, that's a big part of it. And Dr. Anita Amidon in studio with us here. We're going to wrap. We got about 20 seconds. We could do this for much longer, I know, and I have a few questions as well. So maybe we can get you back in a little sooner than later. Laser Spa at 610 French Road in New Hartford.